All right, so hi everyone. If you're watching the recording instead of attending the live session, this is our 6th Candid Talks with Grad session on work-life balance, where at the beginning of every session we have a couple of presentations and then we have an informal discussion about the topic. So my name is Ashley Ryan and I'm the current Student Wellness Coordinator at the Graduate Student Association. And so, so we're going to talk about work-life balance. Or when I say work, it can also mean school as well. So what do we mean when we talk about work-life balance? Well, from doing some looking around online, it became clear to me that the definition is not pretty much well-defined or considered standard. There's kind of like everywhere you look, there's a different wording or of what's included in the definition or what people consider to be work-life balance. However, I found this one to be the most straightforward, and that is defining work-life balance as the amount of time you spend doing your job compared with the amount of time you spend with your family and doing things you enjoy. I think the reason it's so difficult to define work-life balance is that we think of the terms work-life and balance. When you think of those terms, even those terms alone are considered and thought about differently from different people. So if your definition of work-life balance is different than this, that is totally okay. And we can talk about that a little later as well. So there can be many signs or symptoms of an unhealthy work-life balance, but here are a few to look out for. Some might include, exhaustion, always feeling tired, which is related to exhaustion, I guess, checking your emails at 4 a.m., even though that is a time where your schedule is slotted for sleep, finding that you no longer have time to do the things you love, or maybe you no longer have hobbies. You find yourself struggling with personal relationships, whether that be with friends, with family members, or significant others. Perhaps it could come in the form of not finishing projects or perhaps skipping meals during the day, experiencing stress or maybe anxiety or depression, or perhaps it's in the form of being absent from life events that you would otherwise like to attend. So for example, like your significant other's birthday party, for example. Again, these are signs, of course, that can also be related to other wellness related things like depression or whatnot. So to keep that in mind, but these are things to look out for that might help you identify what an unhealthy work-life balance for yourself or the ones you love might be. And of course, it's important to share too the signs of what a healthy work-life balance might look like for you. So some signs might include having clear priorities or goals, or having clear boundaries at work and at school. Things like taking the time to do what you love and fostering relationships with those people you care about. Maybe it's spending some time going for a hike outside or taking a warm bath and practicing self-care. Or maybe it's going to a concert or making sure that you have fun in your life. Hopefully it will also come with a decreased stress level and an increase of feeling happy with where your life is generally. And some things to keep in mind as well when we think about, work or school life balance are these 3 things. 1, that work-life balance does not necessarily mean a 50-50 time split. 2, individual work-life balance might vary over time and between people. 3, there's no one-size-fits-all balance. I think really overall, it's what works best for you so that you can maintain your wellness and internal peace, happiness while still being able to do and finish the things you would like to at work and at school and whatever else you pursue in your life. So just quickly, these are some resources that you can access to help you discover a healthy work-life balance. And some of those include Empower Me, which is a service included in your GSA health plan. So let me know if you have any questions about accessing that. But basically, it's a phone hotline that you can call 24/7, 365 days a year. And it's also accessible in different countries. So in case you're not in Canada at the time when you want to access it. They include things like counseling and other services like life coaching, which could be related to trying to figure out that work-life balance for yourself. You can also reach out to us at the GSA or Counselling Services. You can reach out to people in your department if you're comfortable with that, or accessibility services if it's related to your journey to finding that healthy work-life balance, perhaps the Student Success Office, or maybe some external resources like the Canadian Mental Health Association. So that's all I have. So now it's my pleasure to hand things over to our grad student speaker for today, Aswad Abid, to talk about work-life balance some more and some of the tips and tricks as well as his experience with it. So Aswad, take it away.
Thank you very much, Ashley. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, and everyone listening out there, a very good afternoon to you all. Today is a very gloomy day, if you ask me. If you just look outside, you'll see that you don't see the sun, and it's kind of gloomy, and it kind of represents what's going on with our life many of the times when we don't have a good work-life balance. Because the thing is, let's get honest, we are not so good at balancing everything and remembering when to call our mom or when to pick up that groceries or when to do this and that. As human beings, we have certain contexts that we are not so good at. But there are always ways we can be better at them. The question I have for you all is, think about it for a moment. I mean, if we ask anyone, do you want a good work-life balance? What would they say? Of course, I want a healthy work-life balance. Then how come we don't have that work-life balance in our everyday? Well, the fact of the matter is, even though we want it, sometimes wanting something and not planning ahead can result in not having anything at all. And that's one of the main points that I'm going to focus on today. There are 3 points that I will focus throughout the session. The 3 P's. Number 1 is planning ahead. Planning ahead is always important. The thing is, we are not so good at remembering everything, like I just said. And let's say your mom always tells you, why don't you call me? Your parents are like, you should call us sometimes. And sometimes we forget about that. Sometimes you forget about your assignments. And what we usually do is we always try to remember everything in our mind. We try to remember in this Black Friday tomorrow, I'm going to buy these 3 products. But on the actual day, we forget about 2 other products anyway, because we can't remember every single thing. That's why we have much better options like our mobile phones, like Todoist, like task lists. We have so many checklists. If you're not the person to do electronically, you can even do it using a pen and paper. But the simple thing, just taking notes on what other things you need to do, can make your life much easier, because you don't have to remember every single thing that you have to do. And at the same time, one other problem we always have is when we try to plan, we don't put a date or a time allocated for it. Like we always say, okay, I'm going to exercise every day. But if you ask me, okay, you say you're going to exercise every day. When are you going to exercise? Like many of other people, I would also say I have that problem. Sometimes I forget to allocate a specific time. So that's why it's very important. If you have something that's important to you, set a date. Calling your mom, again, coming back to the same point. Calling your parents, set up a time. Like every Thursday after 8 o'clock, I'm going to call my mom. Just like you put all your notes in your Google Calendar, put a note like that. Just a weekly call. At least you still remember to do it. The whole point is try to take everything from your head and put it on a calendar, and your life will be much easier. Now, first thing is planning ahead. But the other important thing that people forget is prioritizing our tasks. Like many of us are working as a TA. At the same time, you're studying you're working on your research projects, or you're doing your courseworks. Now you have to balance between the two. And at the same time, you have to balance your outside, your personal life as well. How do you balance all those 3? That's when prioritization comes so much in place. It's like, okay, you're working from 8 to 5, let's say. You're outside, you go to the library, 8 to 5, you're there. Once you come back, your priority should switch. When you're at work, your priority is work. So you don't just go around YouTube or go around Facebook to spend some time for nothing. That's not your priority. But once you come back home, your priority shifts. You shouldn't be working all day long at night unless it's very necessary. So how does the priority works? Let's say you have a test tomorrow. Then your priority switches. Now, all day I have to study for the test because I have a test tomorrow. But if it's a weekend and you have nothing coming up, spend the weekend. Don't think about work. Don't think about how you have to finish that assignment or how you didn't finish this paper review. And if you cannot do it by 2 days, then everything is going to go to, it's not going to work out. During those times, if you can always remember to prioritize and switch, your life will be so much better because you don't have to worry about every single thing, all the things one at a time, all the things at a time. It's better to think one thing at a time and be good at it. So those are the two P's. What about the third one? The third one is patience. Let's get honest. Everything doesn't work out that we always plan to. Like everything is on Amazon Prime. If you order something in Amazon Prime, you know it's going to come back in a day. You know it's going to deliver tomorrow. But what if it's an assignment? What if it's a paper review? Do you think if you write a paper and today you write a paper and suddenly it's going to get approved? No, it takes a bit of time. The thing is, many of our goals that we want to achieve in life, it's not a straight line, and it's not like in the flick of a button. It takes time. It's not Amazon Prime yet. So one of the things you should remember is we must have the quality of patience in ourselves. Yes, we have to put the work. Yes, we have to prioritize. And even after you plan, even after you prioritize, sometimes luck comes into place. Sometimes things don't go the way you always plan to. Let's get honest. Some of us, we thought this is our first semester. We're thinking, okay, by now I should have figured out everything and my literature review should have been fine and I should be able to start my work and I should have done so many things. Some of you are in your last semester and you're thinking I should have finished everything, but you're comparing yourself with 10 other people and you're like, no, I haven't done enough. But let's get honest. That's how life is. Everything doesn't work out the way we plan it to. But remember that there's someone who plans better than us. You can call it God, you can call it nature, whatever you call it. You can call it luck. There's something that's out of our hand, and sometimes things don't go the way you plan it. When that happens, and it will happen sometimes, remember that patience is a virtue only the best of us have. Whether it's Muhammad Ali, whether it's Usain Bolt, or whoever you mention. They failed. All of them failed, but they still had the virtue of patience. They had the virtue of persistence. That's what separates the best from the rest. So the question is, if we don't have patience, then who's going to have it? So remember these 3 points. I'm going to reiterate: plan, prioritize, and patience. If you have the 3 P's in your life, then everything, it doesn't matter whether the situation is good, whether you're doing something really well, or whether you are in a bad situation, things are going to work out. And I know it's going to work out because I can already see all the beautiful minds and all the intellectual peoples out there. I can see you. Yes, you. I'm talking to you. Remember, I know some days are gloomy, but it always works out. Think about all the people. Think about yourself 6 years ago, 4 years ago. Have you ever thought you would be studying in University of Waterloo? Maybe some of us dreamed about doing what we're doing today. But you are the person who, amidst all the difficulties, amidst all the hurdles in your life, came through. You have come all the way through here today, passing all the difficulties. And we are proud of you. I am sure that there are lots of people who are proud of who you have become. So the question is, if you could have balanced throughout time, maybe it wasn't a 50-50 balance, maybe it wasn't the best balance in the world, but you made it through. If you could do it all this time, then why can't you do it now? I absolutely believe that you're going to do it. And I'm really curious what you're going to do next. So to all the brilliant minds and all the people who are motivated and inspired to be the next generation who's going to make a difference, what are you going to do to have that perfect balance between your work and your family life? What's going to make you that rare gem who can balance between the two and make us all proud? I know you can do it, and I can't wait to see what you're going to do next. All the best to you, and I wish you a prosperous and a beautiful family and professional life. Thank you.